How are you, Liv?
I'm good.
So we just got back from 2 weeks on the road.
They were gone forever.
So what'd you do while we were gone?
Everyday life, really. No,
you kind of play it.
I go normal. I have like a very specific routine, which is weird to think about because I don't like that. But
listen,
that's how I am.
When you get married, I just want to prepare you. Every day will be an adventure, and you will get coerced, coaxed, or kidnapped into doing things that you otherwise normally wouldn't find yourself doing. But I will be there to support you.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Does that mean that Dave kidnaps you often?
And coerces and or guilts or, whatever, just to do things that I never thought I would do
I'm scared.
in my whole life.
And generally speaking, she's very thankful that she did them after.
Generally speaking.
Generally. What about that one? What was that? The tubing that you almost died?
That's a great example.
He tried to kill me.
They went tubing. And didn't a tree fall right behind you?
No, right in front of us, like coming down on us.
Well, we were stuck in the rocks, trying to get out.
If we would have been, I
don't think I would have done it.
Yeah, that was one of the few literal times in my life where I actually thought I might die.
Your life
in the
flashes
next
before your
15
eyes.
Minutes. Gigantic tree is coming down,
scary.
and I'm in a raft, and I can't get out because of the raft, like the
And at
rapids.
one point he did fall out,
you know.
and I kept going. And I couldn't turn around to see him, and I kept calling for him, and there was no answer. So I was convinced that he had fallen, hit his head on a rock, and was drowning, and I couldn't stop because the current was taking me. And then I started crying, and I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel! You need to save me!
Jesus, take the tube.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
The last time she said, Jesus, take the wheel, it was in a snowstorm, and she was heading down a hill, and
into oncoming traffic.
The car started to slide.
And I
so
couldn't
she
get myself out of it.
Rather than try to get out of it, ended up her car in a creek.
I took my hands off the wheel and I said, Jesus, take the wheel. And at that moment, the car went over and just missed a head-on collision. And I went off the side of the road and straight down into a ravine.
I think Jesus is a better driver than that. So I'm not sure that he did it.
He saved my life and those of the people coming towards me. I ended up in a ditch and I will never forget it. And I think I got the message. I don't need to drive in the snow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about today? What's going on? What are we doing?
Dave has something fun he wants to talk about.
Okay, let's do it.
So I've been a believer, technically since I was 16, but I would say I've been living very intentionally probably since I thought I was living very intentionally in my early 20s. And most people from the outside would have seen that. But now I realize I wasn't. I was still not. I used to tell my kids that the only reason we are on this planet is to bring glory to God and have him at the end of it say, well done. And I always knew that intellectually. It's interesting how as you mature in your spiritual growth, you come to this realization that you're still completely selfish and you still are so worried about petty human crap that doesn't even matter. And then, I've gotten to the point now where, I just don't. I look at life a lot differently than I did even 5 years ago. You know what I
think about when you say things like that? You telling our children growing up that every time they argue, because our girls, holy crap, they fought. The boys, they'd have arguments, but then get over it. But you used to always tell them the root of all of the arguments comes from selfishness.
Always.
I've repeated that and I thought about that, but I'm kind of thinking that if you break that down, the root of everything is always selfishness.
Always. Yeah.
Think about the stuff that's going on now politically. It's selfishness because I want, or I want you to agree with me, or it's all wrapped around ourselves.
Even when it's righteous.
It's still selfish.
It's still selfish.
Yeah. Think about what a different world this will be. It's not like, give peace a chance or all you need is love. No, you need to stop being selfish. It's more of let's be selfless and make the world a better place. Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell people when we talk about marriage, that the one concept that fixes any marriage is when two people are 100% selfless and only care about making the other person happy. It's the weirdest thing. It's the same concept as when you go on a missions trip and you're there to bless others, but you actually end up being the one that gets blessed. It's the same concept. God rewards people who pour out into other people. And I think it happens quickly it's like a physical feeling almost that you.
I think it gives you that instant gratification. So you want to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. Lots of times in the waiting, when we're praying for something or we're seeking wisdom or something, we're impatient people. And we miss the lessons in the waiting. But I think in terms of what he really wants us to do, there's instant gratification there. So we want to keep doing it. So I think that's why when we're intending to bless others, we get blessed almost immediately so that we have that feeling that we want to keep emulating and we keep doing it.
In the Bible, keep no record of wrongs, I believe.
In Corinthians.
And that's great advice, but I would challenge people to flip that on its head and do keep a record of selflessness, meaning your own.
But you have to be careful not to become prideful of that.
No, well, of course.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So if I ask Jody to do something for me, I can have this thing in my mind where, okay, I've got a score of -1 right now. And so I now need to do something, that to make. Kyle always talked about this importance to him of, in any relationship, whether it be a friendship, an acquaintance, a business relationship, whatever, there are two humans that are both pouring in to a specific outcome that's desired by both people. And when one person is doing the pouring and the other one is doing the drinking, the person doing the pouring eventually becomes automatically, they will feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Well, because it dries up,
Right.
because there's nothing filling their well.
There are so many times, and I think this is more common than not, where people are so focused on what they're not getting that they don't take any time to pour in. If they have an ounce of, I'm frustrated with this person, it makes them cut off the whole entire thing with that person. This happens in marriages all the freaking time. And I think that, when we live like Christ, he literally washed the feet and the disciples refused to have him wash their feet. And he got pissed. He was like, guys, come on, let's go. My point is like that was on purpose. Like he was showing that even, the God of the universe in human form is here to serve. And that's how we love. We love through service. And anytime a relationship flips around, and goes the other way. But two people in any relationship in your life that you care about, you should always have the goal of being the person who's pouring more into that relationship than what the other person is.
Do you think that it comes from spiritual maturity or just praying and seeking wisdom or like what it is? But for me now, when it's, something like with you and I, if I'm thinking about something that you're doing or should be doing, I hear this voice saying, well, when was the last time he did that without you asking?
Like
or
a schizophrenic voice?
Yeah. No, more of like
Crazy
a demonic voice, like Satan saying to me,
I want to make sure that
and a
people don't know you.
We
there's a
promise.
voice in my head.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like your
voice
conscience
is
or whatever
mine.
it is.
Yes.
So I hear this saying, when was the last time he did that without you asking? Or, you did that last time. Shouldn't it be his turn?
Ever.
But here's
Really?
my thought. It's because we're human.
Right. Oh,
And when
I'm
the
not,
devil
yeah.
creeps in and starts
Yeah.
saying things like that, now I recognize it, I rebuke it, and I
Wow.
pray.
That's
And I
cool.
never used to be able to do that before. God has given me the discernment to clearly hear what is his voice and what is not his voice. And when those things come in, I recognize it, rebuke it, and then pray, because I don't want that to continually build up and build up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is an answer to prayer for wisdom and discernment, or if that just is maybe, spiritual maturity or whatever it is. But if you don't have that, I would encourage you to pray for it,
Yeah.
because that made all the difference in my relationships in my life, because I'm not keeping record of wrong anymore. It doesn't matter whose turn it is for this or who said that last or, who's supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
It does not matter.
Right.
And it won't matter, especially in eternity. So I'm trying to measure things by, is this an eternal question, decision, argument, or is this something that's earthly and worldly and needs to just go away?
Yeah. So when we do a behavior like that, where we don't say the thing or we say it differently and we get this positive result, I think that teaches us over time. And so that's how you develop a new behavior, is by, getting your dopamine hit from that behavior, and then it turns into a habit. And then, next thing you know, you've kind of established that thing. But that's literally, you're describing describing what sanctification is in the Bible, where we're supposed to live our lives and constantly get closer and closer to Jesus. I find myself being frustrated at 47 years old because I feel like I missed and screwed up for so many years because I was thinking about things wrong.
But look at it as that was your learning curve.
I don't want to have a learning curve. I just want to get there.
I know that about
I love
you.
the journey, but
yes.
when it comes to my own personal how I am as a person.
You have to work through that. The waiting is the hardest part of it. But in that waiting for all of these things, there are valuable lessons.
Super valuable.
And if you're focused so much on the end result, you could love the journey, but you're so focused on the end result that you do miss the scenery along that journey.
Yeah.
I want to give some advice to those who might be listening right now because, again, been a believer for many years. And I would consider myself kind of probably in the middle of my spiritual growth journey. We never stop, but, I've been pretty aggressive, about trying to grow and things. And I'm on day 48 of a 90-day through the Bible in chronological order. And I chose to use the Message translation this time. So I have read the Bible before. I used to actually walk around in my basement and listen to Proverbs all the time as I was praying for wisdom and things, which I don't regret praying for. But man, did God throw us for a loop over the past couple of years to get that wisdom. Be careful praying for anything because what that means isn't that you're going to necessarily be granted it immediately. Many times it means that you're going to go through trials to learn the wisdom.
But that's not patience. You know how everyone always says, don't pray for patience because you'll be tested. No, you won't. God will give you something to wait for. God will, if you pray for patience, then God will give you something to wait for. That's how you develop patience. It's not necessarily.
Well, then I would pray specifically for
you
something to wait for.
Okay, but he doesn't necessarily throw you right into trials and tribulations to
but
teach
if you have
like,
kids
I'll teach you patience.
and you're asking for patience as a mom with your kids, I believe that you're going to be put in situations where you have to have patience.
That
and
could
those
be,
are
but
hard.
It also could be that you are waiting for that point.
Agree, 100%.
Where you don't need patience anymore.
Yeah, I just don't think it means that you're never going to face trials if you pray for patience.
But I think people automatically assume that if you're praying for patience, then now you're going to go through trials, tribulations, pain, you're going to lose things, whatever. But I was reading this morning and then I was diving a little deeper to figure out, well, what exactly does that mean? And basically, as a whole, it's not that he's going to thrust you into this turbulence, but basically to teach you how to be patient, he's going to teach you how to wait. And the patience comes there. Mm-hmm. And it could be 5 years, 10 years, 2 minutes. We don't know, but I'm not afraid to pray for patience anymore now because I always used to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I use every other word except for patience in my prayers. But now I kind of want to welcome that because it's in the waiting where you learn the lessons and where you grow and where you completely learn to lean on him in the waiting. Yeah. So I think I've just completely changed my idea now of how I want to perceive the patience prayer.
Yeah. So in day 48 now, I'm in 2 Kings.
I'm not as far into the 90-day journey as you are. I'm just now getting to Abraham and Sarah and like all these things. And they're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah and when God destroyed that and how Abraham basically pleaded with God to spare anyone righteous, although God couldn't find anyone, but he did spare Lot. And so Ruth came from that. Yeah. But that's where I get comfort because it wasn't her choice to be born into that, but God used her because I feel like traditionally people will look at offspring even and judge them by the sins of their fathers or your family's no good because of. But instead of that, he totally used her to save a nation. And it was amazing to see him do that because God didn't order those two daughters to sleep with their father. Yeah. But he did turn a terrible situation into something that glorified him. Yeah. And so when I think about our country and our world and the demonic forces that I believe are at work right now and just to see the depravity everywhere and the sexual sins and, those things, this doesn't come as any surprise to God. Right. And he knows what has happened, what is happening and what will happen. And there's nothing that I can say or do to change it. I can try and preach the gospel to bring people to Christ, which is what I'm supposed to do. I can worry about my family and our legacy, but I cannot change what is going to happen. So there's some comfort in that. God's in control no matter what happens. We don't have to take on all of those things. We don't have to rely on our politicians or our pastors or anyone else or our husbands, or we can rely on God to take care of it all. And there's such freedom in relinquishing your worry and your control issues. There's freedom in just letting it go and let God handle it.
Yeah.
Like your mom always used to say, give it to God. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else we should be doing.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining
out.
us.
Thanks.
Bye.